upinzani. Now juhudi zimeanzishwa kuhakikisha kuwa nambari 2 katika uchaguzi wa urais na mwaniaji mwenzake wanapata kifuta machozi badala ya kutoka mikono mitupu jinsi ilivyo kwa sasa, ambapo licha ya kuzoa kura nyingi wanabakia kuwa raia wa kawaida tu.
I'm not sure whether Dansan will comment in Swahili.
I hope you understood.
I can answer that in Kiswahili.
Wait, Dansan, you understood this particular report, right? That the number 2 in the presidential election must not go empty-handed. That they must be awarded something at least.
Ule raia ambaye amewasilisha hoja hiyo katika kotini ama katika Senate ni kwamba haya ndio yaliyokuwa katika BBI. Hivi kwamba mgombea ambaye atakuwa wa pili atakuwa na kiti maalum katika bunge ama katika nafasi fulani. Lakini sheria ambayo tuko nayo ya
Mama uende Kiswahili kabisa. Alright.
Na mjibu.
Okay, naam, let's continue.
Hawa wataeleza kwa Kiswahili, kwa Kizungu, but I can change.
Yes.
Hivi kwamba sheria ya constitution tulionayo iko purely 100% presidential. Hivi kwamba the winner takes it all. Chochote kama hukupata, kiti ni kimoja cha rais na naibu wake. Viti vingine vilivyosalia ni cabinet. Kwa hivyo ule ambaye amejitupa ulingoni kung'ang'ania kiti hawezi kuwa senator. Ile katiba ya kwanza tuliyokuwa nayo ndio ilikuwa hivyo. So in summary what I'm saying, the old constitutional dispensation that was removed was a hybrid, a mongrel between a parliamentary system and a presidential system. The constitutional dispensation that we have now is 100% presidential. That is why William Ruto did not contest as a member of parliament of Sugoi. He went for the presidency completely. If you lose, you go away. That is the law. And that application will not succeed unless the constitution is amended. The only way Raila Odinga can be a senator is if he convinces one senator to resign. When he goes to contest in a by-election, when he comes in as a senator.
This petition was being filed by a medical doctor or an architect?
It is an architect. We've seen it on Yes. It is good that he's airing views, but Kenyans, let us get it very clearly that if anybody wants a seat, you decide which seat you are going for. Raila went for the presidency. He cannot now again start going for senator.
You know, this is the Kenyans we are. We really actually, when we go into politics and campaigning, we are never logical. We don't elect people because they have this particular kind of qualification. We just, I think, emotively elect them. You can see a very good proposal. It is true that a person with such, immense influence in the country is relegated to rest for 5 years. And we don't get to utilize him in parliament or anywhere else. So in my humble view, and this is why now the country just rejected BBI. And I have seen the president actually approaching his administration as though he's implementing some parts of BBI. But we rejected it. So this is how Kenya is. We actually are not logical, reasonable in decisions. We simply come up and say, who is standing there, Zainab? Or, let's give her. Then later we are like, oh, we didn't want to do this. So I think Kenyans should logically, reasonably look at a proposal once it has been fronted, irrespective of who has fronted it. Right. Because this is really, really going into what the BBI was talking about.
Yes, 3 points. Number one, Kenyans did not get the opportunity to express themselves on BBI. There was no referendum. So when lawyer Nyadubo says that we rejected, I don't know what he means by we, because the Supreme Court pronounced itself on the processes and other issues. But number two, in a pure presidential system, there's no consolation prize. When you're running for presidency, you know that if you do not win, you're going to be in the political cold for 5 years, 10 years, or your career will have come to an end. So in my view, we shouldn't be creating consolation prizes for people who do not win. If you do not win, take a break. Now, if you've got influence, use the influence to get people to elect you to a position of leadership. If we entertain this kind of petitions, then they will start all over from when somebody is running for an MCA, he will say, I was number 2 as an MCA. Can you give me a consolation prize? I was number 2 as a governor. Give me a consolation prize. For Senate, give me a consolation prize. And we'll end up giving people consolation prizes. And it will affect what you see in the headline of the nation about the public wage bill. So these consolation prizes we must run.
But look at the reasoning, just quickly before we take a very quick break this must. So he says this, and I'm going to quote what the Taifa Leo says. Kwa mujibu wa mwasilishaji wa ombi hilo, that Odinga au mtu yeyote anaibuka wa pili huwa na karibu nusu ya nchi nyuma yake, right? So si vyema mtu kama huyo kuwa asiye na wajibu wote kwa nchi kwa kipindi cha miaka 5.
In a presidential system, and where you have
still doesn't work.
Where you have democracy,
right.
Normally the winner gets 51%, the loser gets 49%. So it's almost 50-50. Now, if you think you've got that influence and capacity, just make sure, if you're running for president in Kenya, just make sure you get 50% plus 1. If you don't, take a break.
It's the law.
In a pure presidential system, look at the people who lose elections in the US. When you lose the election in the US, you take a walk. If you're not a senator or a congressman, you go and take a walk. Now for Mr. Raila Odinga, I don't think his stature, his political capital would suggest that he goes to the National Assembly to start having conversations with those young legislators, or even go to the Senate. That will be diluting his brand. What Raila must do now is to ask himself, why did I lose the election? You know, he has been blaming IEBC. He's been blaming the court for his misadventure. But in my view, his problem, foreign nationals, his problem is not IEBC. His problem is not the court. His problem is not the foreign nationals. His problem is his incapacity to maintain political friends and manage the electoral process.
All right. Time to take a break. But this is what we